Wow. Look at that. I got the bear spray. He was close. I saw him and then I stopped right away, grabbed Tika, and then I backed up a little bit, but he was still on the trail. So I grabbed the canister and I think Tika smelt him right away. Oh, wow.
All right, let's do something fun and informative at the same time. This is my bear spray that I've been using all year. It's kind of beat up, and I can tell it's been discharged a little bit. It's lighter than it should be. Now, I'm done with this bear spray. It's expired. In fact, shame on me because it expired in 2017. So because I'm done with it, I thought let's do something fun and let's fire it off. But I could have fired it off in a video and showed you guys this. I did that years ago. I fired one of these off, but I could have done this a little earlier, but I wanted to wait for a cold winter day. Now in the winter, typically you don't need to bring a bear spray. That's why it's put away right now, because in winter the bears are hibernating. But as I've talked about that over the years with people on the trail, I've often wondered, would these things even work in winter? You know, is there something that prevents them from working? Is there water in there that might freeze? So I want to find out. So that's what we're going to do today. So this bear spray is expired, and rather than just throw it in the garbage, I waited for a cold winter day to discharge it and do a video. This one's new. And when you read the instructions on there, it states clearly, you know, there's a cold and hot limits on them. It says not to store it anywhere hotter than 50 degrees Celsius. So, you know, don't leave it in a hot car on a hot day. The contents are under pressure. That's, you know, there's probably a propellant in there like nitrogen or something like that to allow it to discharge. And this bottle is under pressure. So if you leave it in your car on a hot day, the pressure could build up and this could explode in your car, and what a mess that would make. But surprisingly, there's also a lower limit, which is 0 degrees Celsius, which leads me to believe that maybe there is something like water in there as a carrying agent, and that if you leave it outside, it's going to freeze. So that's the question I want to answer. We're going to leave one of these outside. Well, the old one, we're going to leave the expire one outside and let it get nice and cold, you know, minus 10, minus 15 C, and we'll see if it fires off. And if it doesn't, then we'll refire it on a warm day. So when I read the instructions on this one, it says it's good for about 30 to 35 feet is the effective range, and the burst lasts about 7 seconds. So it's going to be interesting to take this outside in the snow, because I'll be able to shoot it out in the snow and have a nice pattern and see exactly how far it goes. It's not extremely cold, but it's cold, and the spray's been outside all morning, so it is at minus 10. It's cold on my hands, and if you shake it, you'll hear that it's still... So it's still liquid. The contents didn't freeze. Alright, so my house is over there. There's my shop. The wind is coming from over there. Here's the back 40. And Patrick's going to help me. We're going to videotape this from a few angles, and we got to make sure we get the wind right.
Don't get a lot of attempts. So the wind's blowing behind me. I'm going to put it low. Hopefully it doesn't come back on me. And let's see how many seconds. You good to go, Patrick? Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How cool is that? So right where I was standing, it fired for about 4 seconds, which is pretty good. How far do you think that is, Patrick?
of my feet in these boots, so it's like 20 feet to here.
So yeah, let me just. So I'm standing here, and Patrick is 20 feet away. Like, you have to wait until the very last second to fire that off at a grizz or a bear. You gotta wait till he's 10 feet away from you, right?
Yeah.
At least.
Unless you just got a really bad one.
Just put it into context, right? Boy, social distancing. That bear is getting within 10 feet, 12 feet of you, and then you're firing off your spray. Well, Patrick's bringing up a good point. So this is actually will attract animals, and that's why I wanted to do it a bit away from the house. In the back 40, the dogs don't come here. If they come here and they lick this, they'll be miserable. This will be gone. If the coyotes want to lick it, that's their choice.
Yeah, good pointer here. Even though I bought this one later, it has an expiry date. I can see it through the plastic of 2022, and this one has an expiry date of 2023. So I'd say these things are good for about 3 years, 4 years, but be aware of that when you're buying it. You know, take a look underneath and see what the expiry date is, and try and find one that's as fresh as possible. Now, just a quick hint here. These are 225 grams of net content, but you don't know what the gross content is. So that's 225 grams. So a neat trick is to weigh them when you get a brand new one. And I got it on grams right now. Sorry, it's on. Let me put it on grams. So 311 grams for this one. And let me put another one, even though it's got the wrapper. 309, so 311, 309, and this one also has 225 net, and then a third one, 309. So 309, so 3 bottles at 309. Let's round it up to 310. So it's 310 minus the 225 equals 85 grams. Yeah, so good to know. A bottle full, brand new, is 310 grams, and according to the manufacturer, there's 225 grams net of product in there, which means that the empty bottle weighs about 85 grams. So if you have a bear spray and you weigh it and it's just over 85 grams, and then you know you're empty. Now, when they come brand new, it says remove this after purchase, and that's really a safety device. But once you remove the main safety device, don't remove this zip tie. Leave it on there, and that way, if somehow or other it doesn't really deter you from pulling it off quickly, but it saves you from potentially losing this. And you know, on a trip we did this year when we went to South Esk, Evan lost his guard, which is a real pain in the butt. So we had to improvise, and he was wrapping rope around there and trying to do something to prevent an accidental discharge. Now, I have these carriers that you can purchase and attach them to your belt. And I carry mine on my belt close to my hip. I know some people who carry it close to their face, and I don't think that's a very wise idea, and I've demonstrated that in another video. Carry it on your belt, on your hip. Do not carry these on your shoulder strap for a lot of reasons. And then the other thing I do is I have created, just a lanyard. This one's a little fancier. It's made out of paracord, but you can make a lanyard out of anything. And what I do is I pass it around like this, and then I snap this. So even though I'm carrying this on my belt, I give a double protection. I also have a lanyard, and I attach my lanyard to my pack so that, if I fall and this, because this can slip out, right, pretty easily just by being inverted. So nothing sillier than having a safety device and losing your safety device. And over the years, I found about 2 or 3 bear sprays on the trail. So just a quick tip here, make yourself a lanyard and attach a lanyard to your bear spray and to your pack. Okay, so quick fun video, probably more than you wanted to know about bear sprays, but let me recap a couple of things that we learned. First of all, I don't think you need to use this in winter because the bears are hibernating, but good to know that if you ever did bring it in winter, if it's not too cold, -10
or so, they still work in winter. So learn that. The other thing we learned today is these things have an expiry date, and when you buy one, sometimes, you know, I suggest look at the expiry date and try and find the one that's got the farthest date in the future, meaning it's the freshest one. I bought 2 this summer and they had very, you know, they were a year apart in terms of expiry date. So, you know, look at this as an important safety device. Get the one that's fresh, and if you're in doubt, throw it in the garbage and get a brand new one at the start of the season. Third thing we learned today is that as per the instructions on the bottle, these things spray about 20 feet. That's not very far. So if you got a charging bear coming towards you and you got seconds to react, you better be able to get this off real quick and spray, and you wait until that bear is right on you, which is probably the most nerve-wracking thing you'll ever have to do. Because if you shoot when it's 25 feet away, you're just going to have a cloud in front of you, and it might deter the bear. But if you really want to hit the bear, you got to get them in the face when they're about 10 feet away, and that takes nerves of steel to wait that long. And then I touched briefly on it. Some people have them strapped onto their shoulders here. Don't do that. Carry it on your hip, and have it, or in a pocket even, and have it very quickly accessible by hand. It's a natural reflex to reach on your hip and grab something. Have a lanyard on it. But if you have it by your face and you fall and this trigger discharges and you fire it in your face or whatever, it's just not worth it. So put it on your hip. Think of police officers. They don't carry their handguns on their chest. They carry their handgun in a holster on their hip. So do the same thing with this important safety device. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's quick. It's cute. Give me some comments, some feedback. I have a card in the video. I did a bear safety video earlier in my YouTube history. It's 2-3 years old, but it's still relevant information. By all means, give me some comments, some feedback, and get off the beaten trail, folks.